All right, it is July the 10th, and iCIMS just released its monthly workforce report. I thought it'd be good if I could hit a couple of the high-level stats and hopefully get you interested to check out the full report. So let's get into it. All right, so let's start with the US market. Just remember that we are comparing metrics from last year versus this year. So if we're looking at the number of job openings, it did increase year over year by 7% in the United States. And we also saw a continued trend year over year analysis, looking at the average number of applicants per opening, or APO. It is 14% higher than it was last year. It is interesting to note that in the report, there's a graph that shows year to date, or actually over the last 12 months, you're going to see about a 10% dip in APO from May to June. That would represent, just kind of looking at the graph, you're like, oh, wow, that's a pretty big dip. Whenever I went back and pulled the actual APO for May versus June, so comparing month to month, it remained the same. But we are starting to see a little bit of a candidate pull off, a downward trend. It's going to be really interesting, and I'm going to have my eye on the July numbers to see if this trend either stabilizes or continues. If it continues, then I do think that we're going to have to start addressing candidate fatigue. It's been a brutal market for them. Maybe some of them are actually just deciding to leave the workforce. In last week, I believe the BLS released the workforce participation rate had dropped down to 62%. So all indications that something's going on, but I do want 30 more days of information to really kind of get in and digest before I start making any kind of proclamations on that. All right, so now if we switch and look at EMEA, you see a completely different story. The numbers are showing some pretty dramatic increases year over year. Job openings opened at 20% higher than they were last year, and then the job applications, or applicants per opening, also increased 28%. So pretty large top of the funnel activity going on there. But the good thing is that hiring is also up 8%. Just as a reminder, this comes from millions of data points that we pull from our platform. If we go and we look at what's going on macroeconomically in EMEA, the numbers are not as stellar as what we're seeing here. There is some increase in the confidence, a little bit of movement on the job front, but not as high as what we are seeing in some of these numbers. So it indicates that there's a lot of still confusion, maybe a little bit of slight confidence going on in the EMEA hiring. As you can see, there's a lot of data that goes into our monthly report, so please take some time, download it, get in there for yourself, and join me every month where I take our data and turn it into actionable insights for you and for your organization. I'll see you next time.